Okay, so we'll see how this works. I don't know, guys. I made a mistake last night, dumbly, stupidly, and I left the Jeep in gear. I took the dogs for a ride. Tuck has been wanting to get in this Jeep, which is really unusual because Tuck is not a rider. But he's been curious about it, and he's been wanting to get in this Jeep and go. So last night I took him on a little ride around, and for some reason when I parked the Jeep, I didn't put it in park. I left it in drive, which I've done a couple of times with this Jeep, but not for any length of time, just, you know, just a random thing. And then I caught, there's a damn fly in here. I caught it and was able to correct it, you know. So what I did last night, I didn't realize that it was in drive. It sat all damn night and drained the battery. Pisses me off because it was a good battery and I might have just destroyed it. So I've got to take it out and run it for about 45 minutes. So I thought this would be a great time to do my video because I have to get it up to highway speeds and sustain it for 30 to 45 minutes to recharge the battery. And then tomorrow morning I can check the battery and see if it was totally messed up or if it survived. And I won't know until then. So I've got my jumper cables with me just in case. And I've got the alternator warning, I think, on. I don't know about this, but it's pumping more voltage now than it was sitting still. I think it's going to be okay for charging it anyway, for taking this little trip, because I'm not going to turn it off. If I end up having to turn it off and I get stranded, I guess I'll have to call somebody to come get me, and I'll go get the truck and the trailer and come get it. Jesus, please us. I'll tell you. You know, sometimes things get to be real annoying. And my own lack of attention, I was all happy with the dogs because they rode in the Jeep. Tuck rode in the Jeep just fine. Didn't have any problems. Yeah. So when I sit still and just idle, it's pulling the alternator is generating about 12.5 volts. When I'm moving, it's going up to over 13. So I think it's going to be okay. I'm worried about the alternator light being on. I don't know if it's an alternator light or if it's like something else, but it came on after I sat and idled it a little while. So I may have totally damaged the battery. May have totally blown the battery. Well, depleted it, or whatever it is that you do when you have one of these fancy batteries sitting, pulling voltage all night. I didn't realize, and now I know, I have to treat this Jeep like I used to have to treat my squad car, my police vehicle, because there was so much equipment plugged into that police car that at night I had to make sure everything was off, and I had to unplug a few things just so it didn't sit there and draw the battery, even though the car was turned off. So I'm going to have to make sure that I put this dang thing in park and make sure everything's off so that I don't have a problem with that in the future. I may have to go buy a battery tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see in the morning, but this is all assuming that I can make it to Chickasha and back without this thing dying on me or without having any problems. I think I'm okay, but I couldn't sit and let it idle any longer to look up the symbol in the handbook. Oh, I see what it is. Okay, it's not even that. It's my auto stop and start. I turned that off. That's what that symbol is. Okay. Okay, now I can quit sweating that. So this is the problem when you get a new car. You don't know all the stuff about it for a long time until you drive it and experience all this stuff. And you're actually paying attention, have a reason to really pay attention. Because I always turn off the auto stop start thing when I get in here because I don't like it dying at stop signs. I don't like that it shuts itself down at stop signs. Not something I enjoy. I don't think it's good for it to run it that way. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like it would wear out the starter, you know, having to stop and start every damn time you hit a stop sign. That seems crazy to me. So anyway, that's what that symbol is. I'm getting all freaked out for nothing about the alternator. Oh well. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I'm just going to run up here. I'm going to run 70 miles an hour and charge this baby as much as I possibly can. And go get myself a Starbucks and see what happens. I'm just going to do it to it. So anyway, this is my new road video for Woman at the Wheel. And hopefully this channel will start to grow a little bit. I'm hoping to get this channel, to get enough viewers on this channel and actually get it monetized before the next change to the monetization program goes into effect, which would be January next year. So I've got a long way to go. I need to pick up 700 subscribers and a whole lot of view hours. But it could happen. It could happen. But the only way that's going to happen is if somehow YouTube decides to start pushing my videos out there. And they have never pushed my Woman at the Wheel videos. I don't think they know what to do with them. It's my own fault. Because I've done all kinds of different videos on here. Whoa, how'd I get going that fast? I don't need to be running 75. Let's get this down to a dull roar, Sue. Easy, cheesy. Come on, girl. Speed limit 70. Okay. Now it's really slowing down. All right. My cruise control, I was on a hill when I set it. We'll do that. Set it at 69. Enough to not get a ticket, but enough to max out the alternator charge. Okay. All right. So everything else is working on it. Air conditioning and all that. Climate control, stereo, the display, all that stuff is working. So I don't think it's a problem. Somewhere in here I've got little sunglasses. Extra sunglasses. It's really bright out today. Really bright. Hence the dark glasses. These are photo grade glasses to begin with, but they don't get dark in here because the windows are tinted. Kind of defeats the purpose of photo gray. Because it's still bright, even with the tinted windows. It is very bright in here. Okay, so it's charging good now. It's pulling 13.3 volts, the alternator is. Or putting out 13.3 volts, so that's good. That's very good. Whether or not the battery's going to hold the charge overnight is the question. If I've destroyed it, then it won't, and I'll have to go get a new one, which is probably not good, because it's a different kind of battery. It's probably going to cost me a small fortune to replace it. So I'm hoping that it didn't damage it beyond, beyond use. We'll see. Dumb things people do. It's not like this is my first rodeo either. It's not like I'm not accustomed to vehicles or handling vehicles or driving vehicles or the proper way to park and turn off and store your vehicles. I just wasn't paying attention. Plain and simple. I did this to myself because of a lack of attention to detail. And it sucks, but what do I do about it? There's nothing I can do about it right now. All I can do is try and charge it with the alternator and then let it sit overnight, in park preferably, and see if the battery will hold the charge. If it doesn't, well, I'll deal with that bridge when I get there, I guess. So frustrating. Stupid things we do. It's not like I don't know that you're not supposed to leave a vehicle, in gear. when you park it for a lot of reasons. But with this particular vehicle, this dang fly, I'm gonna have to get him out of here at some point. With this particular vehicle, I'll reset my cruise control there, bring it down. This is a speed trap at Rush Springs. I forget what I was even saying there. Anyway. Yeah, it reminds me of my squad car. I've just got to be mindful of it, that's all. So, you know, if it didn't ruin the battery, I will have gotten off very easy, because it sat all night, all evening and all night, because it was yesterday afternoon I took the dogs for the ride, so it sat many hours just drawing on the battery. It killed it dead. The door locks wouldn't even work, nothing this morning. I was like, that's interesting. What did I do? So I got in and saw that it was in drive. I was like, Sue, really? Really? So yeah, really. It really was in drive. And as annoying as that is, at least I know what caused it. It's not like this is some mysterious thing that's a flaw with the Jeep itself. It was purely a dumb move on my part. So, you know, I guess that's kind of reassuring. At least it means the Jeep's not some kind of a weird lemon or something. I haven't had any trouble with it at all. None whatsoever. That was a weird looking little trailer. Huh. All right. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. I mean, you know, if I can get up there and back, I will know that I've pretty much charged it as much as the alternator is going to charge it. And as long as it's moving and charging, I shouldn't have any problem with it like dying. You know, even as dead as that battery was, and it was dead as a doornail, sitting there idling in the driveway, it was at least idling. It didn't like it much, I don't think. It wasn't like charging the battery at all, but it was idling. So we'll see. What a mess. Things you have to live and learn, I guess. This is one of them. So anyway, this is Highway 81. I'm northbound on 81, just coming through the north end of Rush Springs, where Business 81 connects back into Highway 81. For those of you who like knowing where we're at in the world, we just crossed over the highway to Sterling from Rush Springs that runs east and west. I think that highway is Highway 17. That was back at the flashing lights there. What a mess, what a mess. It's weird too, because I fully intended to go make a road video today, and I was debating, well, where should I go? And I was kind of leaning towards the Wichita Mountains, taking a trip up Mount Scott. Well, this kind of put the kibosh on that, because I don't want to get over on Mount Scott and then have to go up there with the truck and trailer and get the Jeep if it dies for whatever reason. So I thought, at least this way I'll be close enough to family, to my in-laws at least, that I can probably get a ride back from Chickasha or the vicinity around here on a Sunday. I'm pretty much good for that. So I decided not to go too far afield until I get this, until I know what kind of damage I did to the battery, and if I have to replace it, once I get it replaced, then I'll go do my Mount Scott video. Sometimes you've got to, make lemonade, I guess. Life hands you a lemon. So I handed myself a big lemon by leaving this thing in drive all night. It never even occurred to me to double check it, which is really stupid. But this is a good lesson, because I'll never forget again, I will never forget to check it again, to double check, make sure it's in park. So annoying. So annoying. And if I think back about it, I think it was trying to tell me that it was still in gear, because when I shut it off, it didn't immediately shut off. It was a little weird. So I think it has some kind of supposed to be like a fail-safe to let you know, hey, dummy, put it in park, you know. But I ignored it. I must have ignored it. If there was any warning, I'm sure I ignored it. Okay, I'm running at about 65 now when I reset my cruise control. I'm gonna let all these people go flying around me. I just want it to, I don't want to run too fast. I want to run at highway speed, but I also don't think it's gonna hurt to get an extra 5 or 10 minutes of charge time running 5 miles below the speed limit on this round trip. Just give it a little more time to charge, you know what I mean? So yeah. So I don't know if you can see it. I guess you probably can on the dash here. I got myself a nice dashboard cover to fight the shininess of filming over an uncovered dashboard. And I think it looks pretty good from what I can see on my little camera viewer, on my little view screen. So I did notice in my first road video I did in here when I went up to, where the hell did I go? Paul's Valley. I did notice that there was some dashboard reflection, shine type of stuff. And I went and washed this yesterday too. I took it to the new car wash in Duncan and ran it through there. So it is pretty clean today. All my windows are nice and clean. It amazes me how dirty a car can get sitting under a carport going nowhere. Dang fly. I'm gonna have to do something about him. I'm just afraid to stop right now. I have to put up with him until I get up here to Starbucks, and then maybe I can open my window and get him out of here. Ugh, getting the afternoon yawns. I'm not sure what time it is because I've got my glove in between my camera and the view screen there that would tell me that, just to keep it from rubbing. I found a new way to set the camera so it doesn't bounce around so much, kind of stabilize it a little bit, but I don't want to scratch up the view screen having it directly leaning on it. So I stuck one of my work gloves under there. Hence, I cannot see the time. But I think it's got to be somewhere around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe-ish. Something like that. So Tom the cat, the new wild cat that's hanging around, evidently Henry approves of him. He accepted him into the clan the other day. And it's probably a good thing that he did, because Henry's getting old. Maybe Henry knows we need another Tom around to keep a lot of the other stray cats away. And evidently Tom the cat talked to Henry the right way, gave him the right kind of respect. They have not fought. And Henry's very territorial. Henry has run off every tomcat that's come around until now. And, well, there was one other that came around that he actually accepted, and that was Blackie. And Blackie died a few years ago. He was a pretty old guy when he showed up. But Henry has not tolerated any other tomcat until now. He likes Tom the cat well enough that he's evidently approved him as part of the official clan. So I started going ahead and feeding him regularly. I want an outdoor cat, you know. I want And the wilder the better, to be honest. So I really don't want another pet cat, but I do want an outdoor cat for, rodent control, pest control. But I'm also willing to feed him, a subsistence feeding schedule so that, he has an incentive to stay around. But I think he's pretty much decided that it's home. I saw him last night. It was kind of weird because the dog started barking, going crazy. It was time to put the chickens to bed. So Molly started barking her head off, and then Tuck started up. So we went outside, and evidently Tom the cat had the chickens in an uproar because he was sitting on the back side of their run just looking at them. Sitting back there just staring at him with his head kind of turned to the side, kind of cocked. And I thought, that is creepy weird, because that reminded me again of this weird dream I had of the critter in the yard that kind of looked human but didn't, which I've since decided was probably Tom the cat, because the face on this creature looked kind of like him. It was weird. Don't try to understand it. It was a weird ass dream. So so he was sitting out behind the chicken run last night, and I'm like, what are you doing to get these chickens in an uproar? Because Big Bird was mad. He was like cackling and crowing. I think maybe he thought Tom the cat was stalking Goldie, and he didn't like it. He didn't like him sitting back there. So anyway, I kind of scolded him a little bit for getting the chickens in an uproar, and he turned around, kind of sauntered off to the east side of the property on the other side of the big plum thicket. But evidently he's going to stick around, so I guess that's okay. I can't get the right level of shade here for my poor eyes. That's too dark. This isn't dark enough. I have like super sensitive eyes to light and haziness. And there's a little bit of haze in the air today. There's been a lot of wildfires around. Stuff like that. Let's try these. Maybe these will be... Oh, that's vastly better. They're dirty, but it's much better. Not too dark, not too light here. Give my eyes a little bit of a break. Okay. I do need to clean them off though. I have always worn sunglasses outside, pretty much. I guess it's a good thing because I've already got a couple of cataracts, or a cataract anyway, that my eye doctor had been keeping tabs on for me for the last few years, but then he retired. Good plan, you ding-dong. Ding-a-ling. Don't look, make sure anybody's coming or nothing. People can be so dumb. So dumb. Nowhere do you see dumbness displayed as much as on the highways these days, I think. Sorry about all this yawning. It's just that time of day. This is my normal thing. So I thought I would wear my good earrings today. Bill gave me these when I was in the hospital one time. And I don't wear them a lot because I'm afraid I'll lose them. But then I got to thinking, I need to start wearing those and enjoying them, because I really like them. They're the prettiest earrings I own, literally. The nicest. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to wear those today. Yeah. He would approve. I'm sure he would approve. It's weird to think he's been gone so long already. I mean, it's been a year and a half. In a way, it seems like it hasn't been very long, and in another way, it seems like he's been gone forever. So I guess I have gotten used to the idea that he's gone, which I think that's all you can do. I don't think you ever get over it, but I think you can kind of get used to things, maybe. I don't know. All right, getting into the south side of Chickasha. Getting into Chickasha's slow zone, which I'm going to set my cruise control here for the speed limit so I don't go bombing through here too fast. Because I've been known to forget that I'm supposed to drive 45 out here, and a lot of people drive it a lot faster than that, but I don't want a ticket, so I'm going to try not to. But right out here on this intersection on the right side, where there's a ramp now, back in there, there's an old lot, and it used to be a club called the Saddle Club. And I never went in there, I was too young, but I remember it being there. I remember seeing it. It had been there forever, probably. But my mom and dad they weren't like bar people at all. I don't think they ever went anywhere like that, ever. I think the closest they ever got to going to a bar was going to a restaurant where maybe they served beer. You know what I mean? They were not party people. So I didn't really know anything about it, you know, as a kid. But I was way too young to go there myself anyway. But I remember it being there. I think it might have burnt down. I don't really know. Somebody who knows the history of Chickasha better than me could probably chime in here if there's any such person that watches my videos and let me know about that. Okay, set the cruise control here. This is a long 45-mile-an-hour stretch, and I tend to go faster and faster as I go through it. One of those things. There's a couple of trailer places up here. There's one I've hauled trailers out of. It's Hart Trailers up here on the right. I like hauling trailers for them. They're pretty easy going. I didn't haul a lot of trailers for them though. But that's one of the only places I know of that used more than one woman driver. There was another lady. She came in one morning to pick up a trailer when I was in there picking up a trailer, and I didn't talk to her too much. We just kind of nodded. We didn't know each other. But she was probably the only other lady trailer hauler I ever saw in the industry in this part of the world. There weren't very many of us. Not too many women want to do a job like that where you're gone all the time, you know. I think has a lot to do with it. Get myself set up here so I can whip into Starbucks pretty easy. Dropping down to 40. I hauled a lot of trailers into this place, this PSS, a lot of those cargo trailers. Hauled a lot of sets of doubles into that place. I didn't like that. I didn't like pulling those cargo trailers as doubles. They were squirrely. There's a cure for that squirreliness, but you've got to take off a set of wheels, which was work. So after I would pick them up, I'd run down to the shop that I worked out of, where the mechanics were at, and we'd pull off a couple of wheels. It went a lot quicker if there were two of us out there with an impact wrench. You know, I could stop 10 minutes, have both wheels off, and be gone. And that would cure the squirreliness. Pulling two trailers tied together with two axles on each trailer makes them gyrate in an unfortunate and dangerous fashion. I think it's the best way I can explain it. And it took me, I had to actually pull a bad set that was really squirreling all over the place to figure that out. And then one of the guys said, oh, you got to take off that extra set of tires. I'm like, oh, why didn't anybody tell me this? Well, you didn't ask. I'm like, yeah, fair, that's fair. Okay. And I guess it was fair. It was annoying, but it was fair. Right. Just whip in here and get a cup of coffee. Just because I can, more than anything. Do need to find my minis though. See what kind of minis I've got here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I've got more than the required amount, which is usually good. It's a lot easier getting this little Jeep through these skinny Starbucks drive-ups than it is getting that big truck with its longer wheelbase and all that.
Thank you for choosing Starbucks. What can I get for you?
Can I get a venti decaf latte with 5 pumps of classic syrup, please?
Yeah, you want that hot today?
Yes, please.
What else?
That's it.
Alrighty, $5.97.
Thank you. $6 for a cup of coffee. That tells you how much our money's worth these days, right? I mean, considering back in the day, we used to sit in cafes and drink coffee for 10 to 25 cents a cup. And that's, you know, with refills and everything. Those days are gone, long gone. The pesky fly is not leaving. Maybe he will, though. Yeah, I think I'm really liking that dash cover.
So $5.97. Here's 4 for ya.
Thank you.
Do you need a receipt today?
No, I'm good,
Okay,
thanks.
we're working on it.
Okay. Keeping an eye on my battery voltage here.
Here's all for ya.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Have a good one. Let's see, what am I doing here? I'm gonna try and do this in the right order. I have my cup holder full of camera equipment. In other words, my cell phone is sitting in the cup holder on its mount that sits in the cup holder. So I can't set my coffee down, which is okay. Alrighty. So that's it. I'm not sticking around up here and hobnobbing. I'm just charging the battery. So I need to get back to highway speed and let it charge for another half an hour on the way home. So this is just going to be a little round trip video. There it goes. It's charging again now. Or it's trying to. I have done several dumb things with vehicles and had to get a battery charged. Probably one of the worst ones was when I had that old red Ford that I was driving, and I was over in Amarillo, I think, at a motel. And I had some trailers that I was going to deliver the next morning, so I stopped at this motel and it was raining. And for some reason I left my keys in the truck and left it in the on position, not like the engine turned on, but the accessory position. Left my damn keys in the truck all night. I got up in the morning. I went out there and couldn't find my keys. They were in the truck. The truck wasn't locked. I was like, holy crap. You know, talk about stupid. And the battery was dead as a doornail. And it had 2 batteries on it. You know, diesel trucks have 2 batteries on them. So there were some guys out there, like a work crew guys. I was like, could y'all jump this battery for me? I got cables. And they were like, yeah, we'll do that. Talk about stupid. But if they hadn't been out there, I might have been hard pressed to find somebody to jump that old truck. 'Cause they had a big truck themselves. So, man, talk about dumb. So this is usually when I have these problems, it's when I've done something stupid. I mean, it just is. Because usually batteries are pretty reliable. If they're in good condition, you know, as long as you treat them right, don't do anything stupid to them, they tend to function just like they're supposed to. Curious how that works, isn't it? Curious. Interesting stuff. Trying to follow the speed limit here. I'm not sure what I think of these Toyota pickups. They look pretty nice. But I'm a Ford girl. I mean, I've just had really good luck with Fords over the years. I've had a lot of Ford pickups, like 4 or 5 of them, that were just great vehicles, you know, reliable, ran good, never had any trouble with them. I'm still running the last one that we bought with no problems. But I kind of like the looks of the Tundras a little bit. I think I like their paint colors more than I like kind of other makers' paint colors. I've noticed I really like Toyota's kind of, they're not matte, but they're not like glittery looking. They're not metallic. They're like true colors, like tan and gray, and they've got some interesting colors. I really like those for some reason. Okay. Okay, so this alternator was charging at 13.2 volts most of the way up here. Now it's down to charging at about 12.5 to 12.6. So maybe that battery's got a pretty good charge on it now. The alternator's not having to work as hard. I think that's what that means. I think. Wonder what kind of road work they're doing here. Wonder if this has got anything to do with the new bypass they're putting in out west of Chickasha. Wonder if they're going to tie that back in down here somewhere. Huh. Don't know. Don't know. Wasn't a very long zone though. So the county came through yesterday and patched our road a little bit, or day before yesterday. No, 2 days ago. See, it was the day the kids came to see me, so I guess it was like Wednesday. It's been a few days, actually, because today's Sunday. But they came through and laid some patches on our little road. It needed it in spots, and one of them is my fault. One of the holes in the road was my fault, and I didn't realize it till Bill pointed it out to me. There was a dent, a divot in the pavement where I pulled into the mailbox every day for pretty much years and checked my mail, and then I would start turning my steering wheel to get into the driveway right there. And so it dug a little divot into the pavement. Well, they filled that in the other day. So I've got to try and remember not to do that anymore. Try not to tear that up again. I didn't realize that I was causing a problem. I wasn't thinking about it, you know. One day Bill was like, you know, you're doing that. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, think about it. And I'm like, oh. Yeah, I see what you're saying there. This is a bad intersection here. This one's well known for bad accidents. So I am usually pretty cautious going through there. Okay, I'll set my cruise control at 65 again. Let it get another 20 or 25 minutes of a charge on it, and then we'll see how it does in the morning. I feel so stupid. I guess I should. It was a dumb thing to do. Dang dumb. That looked like a bobcat or something back there, but the tail looked too long. That was weird. Weird. Maybe bobcats' tails are longer than we think they are. That wasn't big enough to be a puma, and the tail wasn't long enough to be that. But it was definitely a wild cat, kind of dun-colored. And with a longish tail, not long, but longish. I've seen a lot of things on the side of the road that, you know, a lot of critters that I'd be like, I didn't know they looked like that. Like, I stopped one time to look at an armadillo that was out in the middle of a county road, just to look at it, you know, because I hadn't really looked at an armadillo up close until then, and I never knew they had fur. Who knew? Until I saw that. It had fur sticking out from under its armor plates around its belly. I was like, I didn't know that. So although it seems kind of gruesome, you know, some things you just can't avoid seeing anyway. You might as well try and learn something from it, I guess, or, you know. I don't know. That sounds even worse, doesn't it? Yeah. Anyway, you see weird things on the road. It's like the bear I saw run over in Arkansas, up in the Wachita Mountains. I always kind of think Wichitas and Washitas. The Wichita Mountains are over here by Lawton, and it's Wichita. The Washita Mountains are in the other corner of the state, southeast corner of the state, and run over into Arkansas. So those are the Washitas, but for some reason I always think I've got to say Ouachita because it starts with an O. It's not, it's Washita, but Ouachita? I've been doing that forever. 'Cause I don't have to do that, you know. It's like people know the difference. Those are the Washitas, these are the Wichitas. And for some reason, that's just something my brain has grabbed onto senselessly. Yeah. It is really, really hazy out today. That's why the light was bothering my eyes like it is. A lot of smoke and a lot of dust in the air. It was super windy. Day before yesterday, was that Friday? Yeah. Friday, the wind just howled out of the south. Just blew and blew and blew. And it blew in a bunch of dust. And then yesterday, we started getting the smoke coming down from some big wildfire up around Anadarko, I think, with the wind blowing the other way. So it's just, everything's all stirred up right now. So my eyes don't like it, my allergies don't like it. None of the above. They don't like any of it. So it's supposed to get up, I think, to 105 again today. It may be about that. It's pretty hot. I could move my work glove and see what the actual temperature is, I guess. I was so curious. 94. Okay, so it's not as hot yet as I thought it might be. Don't do that. Don't pull over in front of me and slow down. Don't be a dingbat. God, I hate when people do that. It's not like I'm running fast. I'm running 65. There's no reason to pull over in front of somebody who's running slower than you are and then slow the hell down in front of them. Some people are just just not real bright. I'm sorry. Not like I'm the brightest bulb in the box either. I know it. I do some dumb stuff. I don't know what this person's problem is. They are all over the road. Their speed is fluctuating. She's crossed the white line multiple times already. Of course, this is the old cop in me observing. Either she's drunk or she's a bad driver, one of the two. And I'm saying a she because I don't know why. Maybe I just think it's a woman. I don't know. I don't know. One of the things about having been a cop is it takes you years to get that out of your system. And some of it never leaves. Some of it you're just stuck with, you know? Like being super judgy about people's driving. You know, you spend so much time learning the signs of intoxication and just observing bad driving in general, that it gets to be a second nature type of thing that you observe when you're driving anywhere, even when you're, you know, haven't been a cop for 20 years. Yeah, it's a thing. There's a lot of stuff about being a cop that'll stick with you, especially when you're a cop as long as I was. I mean, I was almost a decade, so quite a lot of time on duty. A lot of time for things to become like ingrained in my persona, I guess, maybe. But that's one of them. That's just one of them. I'm super suspicious when people tell me stuff that I find not quite believable. I guess I'm trying to say my BS detector is still working pretty good. That is something you learn to really pay attention to and use when you're a cop. Because, I mean, let's face it, when you're a cop, a lot of people are going to lie to you. A lot. In fact, I would say most of the people that you deal with as a cop are lying to you about one thing or another. And of course, it's your job to figure out who's lying about what and then, you know, respond accordingly. I really, really hope I didn't ruin this battery. I think what I'll do is I'll take it down to AutoZone in the morning and just have them put their tester on it just to make sure. So if I did ruin it, I'm sure they'll install a new one for me right quick. And I don't want to do it. You know. It's in an awkward spot, and I don't want to have to pull that out of there and redo it. Batteries are heavy, man. Heavier than I want to deal with. Turn the air conditioning up. It's getting hot in here. I hope that doesn't ruin my audio. Rush Springs out doing traffic. Look at that. I haven't seen them out here in a long time. But this is an infamous speed trap too. Infamous in these parts, these here parts. I was right. The highway to Sterling is 17. That's what I thought. It's good to know my brain still works a little bit anyway. It's a happy thing. To know it's semi-functional. Especially after pulling some really boneheaded stunt like, you know, leaving the Jeep in park all night. So I may be able to redeem myself in my own eyes somehow eventually. Okay, so if I didn't destroy the battery, I think it's pretty much fully charged right now. I think just the trip up to Chickasha was enough. because it was pulling 13, or putting out, the alternator was putting out 13.2 volts all the way up, and it's been 12 volts all the way back. So I'm going to say it's not having to, you know, like push a higher voltage just to get it back up where it should be. Question is, will it hold it? That's going to be the whole question. We'll find out in the morning. I hate when I do stupid things. I hate it, hate it. Oh well. Maybe it's not as late as I think it is. It's not anywhere near as late as I think it is. Everybody was still at church back there. It's 11. I was thinking it was 2 in the afternoon. I got up pretty early this morning, though, and I haven't really been watching the clock. But yeah. So it's much, much earlier. Okay, why does the climate keep turning off? Damn it. Ah, shoot. Why is this doing this? How do I get to that screen? I need my air conditioning back on. Dang it, come on. Fuck. I'm gonna have to pull over and fix this because I cannot find it on the screen with my camera in the way, and it is hotter than hell in here. Somehow I turned it off when I moved my glove. Dumb. Dumb, dumb. My gosh. Oh my gosh. How do I get to it? Controls. Settings. Climate. Where's the freaking climate control? Where do I turn that on at? This is annoying. This is really getting annoying. There we go. On. My word. Okay. Change the screen. Now we can put the glove back in. All right. Now we can do this. That's annoying as shit. Something I'm gonna have to learn to deal with, I guess. I'm still getting used to this Jeep, obviously. And it's got a lot more fancy, you know, modern stuff in it than the old one did. There was nothing in there to screw up, really. If I left it in park it, or it left it in gear when I pulled in, it wouldn't do anything because it wasn't sitting there trying to, it didn't have a computer in it trying to tell it what the hell to do. So there are drawbacks to newer vehicles. I mean, you know, that to me, that's a pretty big drawback. But it's not enough to make me hate it because I really like it. It's a nice Jeep. I've just got to get used to it and understand how not to do stupid things with it. That's the big trick right there, you know. I just have to be vigilant with myself and not pull any boneheaded moves. Any more boneheaded moves. Man, this guy coming up on me is coming fast. I mean, I am running 66. He's running about 75, I would guess. Somewhere around there. Hauling butt. That's pretty typical. Okies drive fast as a group. They're not necessarily bad drivers, but they're fast drivers. But we've got great roads here to run fast on, so it kind of, I think that's what promotes the speediness of Oklahoma drivers. Because a lot of our roads are like this, you know, 4 lanes, pretty good shape, until you get up around Oklahoma City. And then it gets pretty, you know, some of the conditions get really bad up there, but for the most part, we got some pretty good roads that you know, kind of get you used to driving 70 miles an hour everywhere you go, and then if you're in a hurry, you push it a little bit more. It's like anything else. Okay, my glove just came out from under there. That's fine. I'm having all kinds of fun today. But I'm not sure about that camera thing. I'll just have to let it go because it's what it is for the moment. I think I moved it a little bit when I was trying to fix the air conditioner there. I mean, there are drawbacks to controls that you have to be able to access through a screen if you don't know the functionality of the screen. If you don't know which buttons to push, you can spend your time in there looking, and, you know, it takes a minute. But now I know. Oh, they got goats. Goats in the truck. Goats in the back of the truck. I had a goat once. Evie Bodkins was her name. She was a pretty awesome little critter. She was also ornery as all get out. But she was best friends with a horse. And the horse died one day. And that goat cried and cried and cried for days. And I had to, real quick, try and find somebody with horses to take this goat because she was losing her shit. She was just beside herself because her horse buddy was gone. So I found a real nice couple, and this was up in the mountains in Colorado. Found a real nice couple who had horses, and they wanted a goat for a pet. I had a couple people call and say, well, is she a milking goat? I'm like, no, she's never been milked. She's a pet goat, you know. She's a horse companion goat. She's not a milker. Leave her alone. You know? But they just wanted a pet goat and a companion for their horses. It was a perfect fit. So I went to see her a few months after she moved over there, and she remembered me. And they had a house with a walkout basement, and it walked out into this paddock right across from the horse pen. And so she was bouncing back and forth between the horses and me and visiting, and she was just as happy as she could be. And they had like 3 horses, and she loved it. And they must have loved her too, because they were being all happy with her. So, yeah, she ended up where she was supposed to be in the end. But that was one of the saddest things ever. Was this inconsolably sad goat who had lost her best friend, the horse. You know, she used to get up on that horse's back and lay on him, nap. You know, he'd lay down and let her do it. He'd let her sit on his back and take her naps. They were inseparable. So yeah, goats are pretty cool. Goats are cool critters. I have thought randomly about maybe getting another one someday, but I am never going to do that really, because they do require some maintenance, more than I want to put in, and I would have to completely re-fence the whole 700 feet across the front of my property to keep her in, because there's so fencing across there with some breaks in it. It hasn't been maintained. It was like that when we got it, and we never had a reason to really put money into the fence. We never seriously contemplated putting any livestock out there. So yeah. But it's probably better that I don't, because then I would get attached and then something would happen and I'd have to give it away, and you know how things like that go. I don't need another goat. Don't need another goat. But I really liked Evie. She was a sweet girl. I remember going and getting her and taking her home. I had a little Bronco too. I picked her up and stuck her in the back of it. She was about 35 pounds at the time. She wasn't very big. And she came up between the seats and she just kind of rested her head on the console on the way home. And then when I got home, I got her out and took her over to the horse pen. And she sat down on my lap. She was like a little dog. And we sat outside the horse pen for a while until we figured out if it was going to be okay to put her in with the horse. And then we did, and she was fine. But she was like a little dog. And then she grew up. She got pretty big. And she used to do this thing. She liked mock charging me. She was just playing, but she would rear up and then run at me like she was going to butt me. And she had horns. I mean, she was a character. She thought that was really fun to do. For some reason, that was one of her fun activities, was charging me, mock charging me. She never did really butt me. I think she would come up and act like she was going to, and then she'd just tap me or whatever. You know, she was just playing. She was a cool creature. Evie Bodkins. She was a Nubian goat. Very pretty girl. Sweet disposition. She was nice. But in the end, she ended up, I'm pretty sure, living out the rest of her life with the people that I gave her to, because they actually would open up they had like a bar in their basement, kind of a den bar area, and they would open that up and let her come in. I didn't let her in my house. I didn't want goat poop in my house. But she had it made there. They were like real goat people. Goat and horse people. So things usually tend to work out, I think, the way they're supposed to, in spite of us, maybe. In spite of us trying to make them go the way we want to. All right, well, I'm almost home. So anyway, thanks for taking a ride with me. Thanks for riding along. I will let you know how it turns out in the morning with the battery. God, I hope I didn't destroy it. I really hope I didn't destroy it. That would be so annoying. That would just be aggravating. And it'd be expensive too, because I'm pretty sure these aren't just your garden variety batteries. There's some special battery. You know how new vehicles are. Well, newer vehicles. This isn't new, but it's newer. I can tell you that the anodes on it don't look like the anodes on my truck battery. They're very different. So I'm sure there's some kind of special, it's some kind of special, super special battery. Anyway, thanks for riding along. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye-bye.